Anger and pain. These are really the points where action starts to occur that will cause harm, can cause harm. It doesn't always cause harm, but can, and most likely will cause harm to yourself, if not to another. Anger and pain. And these are because these are survival reactions that your brain has learned to remember and predict actions of story. So, what just happened? I feel pain. What am I going to do? Am I trapped? I can't get loose. Oh my God, it's my foot. Not, bite it. Anger, mad, stay away. What do I do? And then there comes in this pain, this threshold of pain that overtakes. There's this burning of energy that it takes. Then there's desperation. I'm going to gnaw off my own foot. I got to get away. I got to get out of this. I want to live. This takes you through this ultimate self realization that you are responsible for this moment of your life. You are responsible for living. There is no one else. This is what an animal feels when it gets trapped in the woods. Even to the point, and I have witnessed this, I grew up with a grandfather who was a trapper and actually sold furs. And he only took me with him a couple times because I would cry. I couldn't handle it. And he would always explain to me that, he was trying to do it as peacefully and as good as it could be. But when we would get there and find an animal in a trap on his land that he had out in Texas, and I love my grandfather, and he was a great person. And I understand this was a business back then. Everyone liked fur coats and stuff. Funny. I mean, it was still coming out of that wild animalistic time of humans. But when I would get there, and it would be like the next morning, early in the morning, there would be an animal exhausted. You could see it tried to chew its foot off. You could see it suffered. It had no fight left. It surrendered. It didn't want to live anymore. It was the most heartbreaking thing I ever saw. It crushed me. I could feel that moment. When I was a kid, I didn't understand how, but I could feel that moment. And it's the same thing that humans do. It's the same thing that anyone does. When you get trapped, you go through the same reactions. Surprise, fear. You want to remember the story that led you there. Somewhere in the middle of that, there's echoes of I should have gone left, I should have gone right, I should have stayed home, I should have not gone out at all, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should check the ground, I should walk with a stick. But at the same time, your anger is building, and you're angry at yourself, and then you're angry at who put the trap. And you're angry at why there's a trap, and you're angry at how the trap works, and you're angry that you, again, fell into the trap. And you struggle, and you lash out, and you push out, and you break out, and you want to harm, and you want to self-harm, and you want to hurt. But all you really want to do is get out of the trap, because all you really want to do is live. That's where the fight comes from. Until you exhaust yourself. And then you give in. You say, fine, I'll be trapped. I don't get to live. And this almost comes out of the self-punishment of getting trapped. This is a human nature. This is an animal nature. This is something that everybody deals with. This is reaction to an incident that causes fear and pain and suffering. And the reaction is to survive. And the survival needs to build power. And they do it with anger. And this is why people confuse anger with power. This is why people confuse anger with power, because we are even taught to react to anger with fear. This is how weak people act powerful. They use anger. This is how scared people act powerful. They use anger. And so they are trapped. Once you see that, you know they have been trapped. They are caught. They are lashing out. They are using this to protect. And you might think like, no, I know people that aren't trapped. They just use anger because they want to hurt. That's not true. They want to hurt those who trap them, and they blame you. They were taught that way. They were taught to blame the trapper. They were taught to blame the manufacturer of the trap. They were taught to blame the leaves that fall on top of the trap. Some people were taught to blame themselves. This is where the direction of anger comes from. This is where that force channels to, comes from, and it channels back to anger, power, survive, control. But it's the first sign that you're dying. It's the first sign that you're weak. It's the first sign that you are in suffering. And the first question that you should ask yourself is, what is causing my suffering? I am trapped. I know how I got here. I know it was a mistake. I know I am prey. I know people seek me out because they want something from me. I know there are hunters. I know there are predators. This is not an incorrect way of nature. This is nature. It doesn't matter how you write the story. Nature is the use of predator and prey, of power and weakness, of anger and of fear. So you, people, humans, animals who have the ability to consciously communicate to one another, and I'm staying in the field of humans right now, you express this to one another. You teach this to one another, just like all the other animals in the kingdoms. You preach how to survive. And to do that, the story needs to move to the next level. And that level is the understanding. Anger means suffering, pain. What is it? If you feel anger, break it down. I can't believe this person did this and this. I'm so angry at them. But why are you angry at them? How did they hurt you? How are they trapping you? The reality that there's a predator and a prey, the reality that there is a person that harms and a person that is harmed, is given to the nature of light and dark, to the nature of good and bad. It cannot be argued. All that can be argued is, what does it mean when you are face to face with it? If an animal is reflecting angry at you, is that animal angry? He is scared. He is taught. He is trained to be that way. In nature, if a snake pulls up and shows aggression towards you, many people have already been taught that snake is not angry at you. It's protecting. It's in fear. Someone comes up to you with anger. They are scared. And you don't need to be angry back to scare them, because then you are scared. This is why the answer to so many things is the understanding of that and the love and the acceptance of that.